So I'm talking with Tomas about wellness, maintaining a program, why we're maintaining that program of wellness and physical maintenance, and then eventually we are going to get to putting on size. So Tomas just asked a question about the daily routine, and what was your question?
So
about?
what do you have to start with to reprogram yourself, your mind? What do you have to start doing with your day and your body before you can start the muscle gain and the performance improvement?
So because of the natural order of living and using our bodies properly, you start out with getting to a maintainable fitness level that you can maintain for the rest of your life. Now that's the first step, finding that. So if you do go into some transformational program or muscle gain program, you're already able to, in your mind, know that if you stop the heavy duty workouts and all the diet that you're doing and more sleep, which is what all that requires, you can always go back to what you've laid the ground level on, which is the maintenance and the wellness component of your daily physical program. So my program currently, and it's been for over 2 decades, is to get up every morning, somewhere between 4 and 5 in the morning on most days, over 320 days a year. That would be my morning program. And then do a few stretches right in the bedroom. If I'm going to be going out and going to work right after the workout, I take a shower right then. Then I get, change the clothes ready, the fitness clothes on my body, and then I go out and I find a place that's an open area, like a park, a trail, a parking lot, whatever it is, that open space. If I'm in a city, I'll often go to a children's playground before they get there, and I'll exercise there, or even a school. Like one of my videos is called the Geneva Workout. That was filmed live in a school playground on a rainy day in Geneva, Switzerland. And so that's where I did it. If you're there before hours and you're communicating openly to anyone in the area, they tend not to have a problem with that. Now, if there were 50 people all doing the Sifu Slim thing at one of these kids' playgrounds, I'm sure that they might say something about it. But currently, nobody's out there, or very few people are out there in the morning at kids' playgrounds and schoolyards. Unfortunately, in California and many places in America, they put fences and locks on all the school playgrounds. So the people in the neighborhood, unlike when I was a kid, and even 10 years ago, in the early part of the new millennium, we could all use these school grounds. But unfortunately, in the modern era, they've locked them up because of damage and because of lawsuits and these types of things. So that's the morning program. 1.5 to 2 hours every morning, and I have videos on this, YouTube videos, videos for sale, DVDs, that talk about the program, and it varies by day what I'm doing, so that I don't fatigue one area too much, and I get some running in, some harder body work, some balance work, hand standing on my hands, those types of things. So those are a few things. And then what do I do during the day to keep the body thinking like it was a body from a long time ago that was on a farm or a hunter-gatherer? Well, every time I go to the bathroom, I do a stretching or a physical invigoration program, and that could mean jump rope, stretching, jumping jacks, push-ups, yoga stretches, whatever. So I do that every time I go to the bathroom, or every time I want to take a break from my computer, phone, or a meeting. I take a break and I find a place where I could do some jump rope, and that cleans out your lymph. You have over 50 places in your body, I believe, that hold lymph, and that's the human cesspool that's cleaning our cells out, our bloodstreams, etc. And you want that to move, and that's what your body demands. And if you don't, you become someone who's toxic. I'm already toxic based on living in the modern era and having stress, but you don't want your body to hold those toxins. You want them to process that. The more heavy you are, the more out of shape you are, the more your body holds toxins, which is unfortunate. So now we've come to the maintenance, and that's what I do for maintenance, and then stretch before I go to sleep. Hallelujah, that's the average day. Now, like Tomas, I've tried to put on size, muscle size, which comes with fat size. They go hand in hand unless you want to maintain some really low percentage of body fat, which I don't think is good. Bodybuilders may be 5 to 8%. Marathon runners may be 5 to 8%. Not a good place to be unless you're a performance athlete, which is less than 1% of the population. Only try to be that way if you're fully ready for it. And I'm not saying that people like us who have jobs should do that at all. But now, how do you put on muscle size? For someone like Schwarzenegger, who's a mesomorph, you go out and you work out, and all of a sudden you become much more large, because that's what the DNA and their family genetics have programmed their body to do, which is grow in size, whether it's fat, muscle, or both. If you put on muscle, you're gonna be doing a little both. But if you just sat around and ate more and you were a Schwarzenegger build, you did what Schwarzenegger would do, which was you start filling in. And if you're a build that's someone that's an endomorph, that's already more built like a tomato, then you're gonna put on weight. Even if you exercise, you might put on weight and a lot of fat weight. So how do these ectomorphs put on muscle weight? Well, I can tell you from my experience that it was very challenging to put that on. When I was in my 20s, much higher testosterone, I'm lifting weights, heavy weights. So what were my results? Well, I put on 5 to 8 pounds through really hard work, through a lot more weights, lifting weights with people that were much bigger builds, trying my hardest, much more attention to my diet, more carbohydrates, more fat, more protein, more intake of total calories. Yes, I did. And I put on weight. But what was the byproduct of that? The byproduct of that is my joints hurt a lot more from doing all this extra heavy work, and my body, being an ectomorph, Michael Jackson build, is not built to put on weight. It's not built to put on muscle strength, substantial muscle strength. So yes, I can do body weight exercises, chin-ups, push-ups, crawling, cycling, all these body weight exercises I can do fairly well. But when I went to put on like double my bench press, it did not happen. It could have happened if I did, special testosterone boosting. If all I did was think about, the mindset for putting on muscle and strength. But what would have been the byproduct? Again, hurt joints, stiff muscles, and not feeling well, and not being able to play tennis and golf because I'm this walking mound of stiffness, and my body's always recovering from that hard workout, which for people who are built like Schwarzenegger, they recover and they build tissue very easily. The thin people do not build tissue very easily. What do we build? We build fitness. We don't tend to build tissue very well. So let me hear some of your comments so far.
So those Schwarzenegger type would probably gain momentarily strength, if I understand well, and those types of us and Michael Jackson, we would be most of a stamina and endurance, longevity of performance. So performance stretch over a long period of time, while Schwarzenegger type would be high performance for a short amount of time, however with very short recovery as well.
Yeah, shorter recovery. So what I would suggest for Tomas, because I've already been there in his circumstance, is that play with it. Do your fitness, do your maintenance, and get that down every day for 3 months. Do that every day for 3 months. Then go into a program where you're doing more difficult activities. If you want to do the weights and the squats and the bench presses, yes, go in and give that a shot and see how your body responds. You have a little bit bigger bone structure than I do, so you may be able to put on some size and recover more quickly than I do. You're also in your 30s. I did that when I was in my 20s, so you're higher testosterone. So you may see some results. You may put on 25 pounds in the course of 3 months, 6 months, something like that. So play with it and see what happens to you. See how your fatigue levels are, see how your recovery is, see how your energy is, and see how your personality changes too. A lot of times our personality changes with this new size. See if you're still friendly when you're taking your body through this very challenging workout and recovery, and see if your sweetheart notices any of your personality changes. So what are your thoughts on that?
I consider body as a tool, not as a main objective. I like to focus on other things than just the body, but again, it's your body is a tool and you want to keep your tools clean and very useful.
Yeah. So those are some of my thoughts for the ectomorphs out there trying to put on muscle size, muscle strength, etc. There are ways to do it. There are pros and cons, and you have to balance that out for yourself. I've been there. I had to realize that I have a Michael Jackson body. I have the high flexibility. I have rhythm. Thank God that I have rhythm to go along with it. I was a professional mascot in my late 20s and early 30s. Rhythm came naturally to me, and I did a lot of dancing growing up in the disco era and when I was a professional mascot and doing cardio funk aerobics in the 1980s.